Hello everyone, if you saw my last video, the Yankee Candle 2014 Holiday Haul, and heard my sort of recent opinions on Bath & Body Works White Barn, you may be surprised to see this next video with some candles from Bath & Body Works, but, I obviously still check things out there, shop around, and I will still be purchasing from them, just probably not at the, levels that I used to, unless they really switch things up and throw out some really impressive collections. But I wanted to check out this collection, which is called The Perfect Wish. As most folks know, this past Friday, December 11th, I believe, no, 12th, yeah, 12th, there was an $8 candle sale, which they usually do once or twice a year, which, again, as a Bath & Body Works collector, hoarder, fan, whatever, of candles, hard to pass that up, so I had to check it out. And there also was a really great coupon, so I'll tell you what I did. I did not stock up. Years ago I may have bought 6, 8, 10, 12 candles at that rate, especially after a coupon. But I actually only bought 5. One for a gift that's part of a grab bag gift. I bought a Merry Mistletoe, and I bought these 3. So it was 5 candles, $40, and then I had a mailer coupon, I believe it was, for 15 off of 40, so it brought them down to 25, so $5 per candle plus tax, so $27, 5 candles. Truly hard to beat. It's kind of the best deal that I could have gotten. No need to get more candles, especially because I really didn't need anything else. But the main reason I'm here to talk today is not about that sort of entire haul. It's more about this new collection called The Perfect Wish. So first I'll talk about sort of my thoughts and feelings and kind of analysis of the marketing and the collection itself, and then we'll talk about the scents I didn't purchase. There are 4 or 5 of them, and then the 3 that I did. I'll do my standard in-depth sniff and review. So this is The Perfect Wish. It seems pretty much to be, this is, granted, all of their collections are, 80% marketing, but this one is really heavy on the marketing. It's primarily, repackaged scents from past eras, mostly recent eras. And collections, but done up in this sort of like New Year, New You, Perfect Wish, live your best life, live out your mood kind of inspiring quote sort of candle. So it's very much marketing to the demographic. And years ago, and actually the bronze blogger of the Real Talk B&BW Candles blog, and YouTuber, mentioned that he felt like this collection was very similar to the Good Life candle collection, which is sort of an aromatherapy home / the Good Life collection back in, it was late 2011, early 2012, or maybe it was all early 2012, that they did. It was the first time they released gold lids, like we now see for almost all of the White Barn collection. And it was a little more sophisticated than this in the sense that they played on either emotions or sort of one word, almost like attributes, I guess, like hope, flirt, love, peace, comfort, joy, relax. And then they had 1 or 2 notes listed for the candle. It was the gold lids, really kind of pretty labels, and all white wax, if I remember correctly. And some of those candles have come back through the years. It never went wide. I thought it was really nice, sort of classy, touching? No, it wasn't touching. I don't know. But sort of a classier touch, I suppose, to the line, and it kind of was a little bit more, could fit many demographics, and I think there like a lot of people could be interested in them, whether you like the sweet, cozy, comforting, or you like something a little bit more bright and cheery and fresh. Whereas these ones are, let's face it, just based on the twirly whirly font, these are pretty feminine. Which, I mean, it's Bath & Body Works and it's candles, so I'm sure 85% of their demographic is women. But so this collection is, because it's all repackages for the most part, and it's just kind of thrown in here as a soft lunch during the candle sale and near the end of the year, I have a feeling it's kind of just again, a throwaway collection for folks who are interested in something other than the winter stuff. And maybe this is something where when they clearance everything out at the semi-annual sale, these might remain full price for a while through January until they start launching their spring collections, or their kind of late winter collections, which of course tend towards the sort of Hawaii island tropical drink stuff even before we get into the summer kind of drinks and tropics and all that kind of stuff. So first I'm going to run through, well, I guess again, I said the marketing, it's the idea of like be daring, live in the sunshine, light up the room, you know, be your best you. Fine, whatever. It's cute, I suppose. I'm a little bit torn. So I don't love that font. I think that the sparkle, the glitter label is, again, it borders between pretty and tacky. Like from far away in the right light, it kind of can look pretty, but up close, and it's just like this metallic sticker. It looks a little bit tacky. It reminds me actually of the Aromatherapy Holiday Collection from 2011, Nighttime Tea and Vanilla Cinnamon, which were sleep collections, and it had a very similar sort of metallic, but the kind of sparkly thing was the entire candle label wrapped all the way around, so it made it opaque. And then the lids, though, I don't know. I think I'm with everyone else. I kind of love them. Whether that makes me a hypocrite or what, but there's something. For me, it's like, I mean, I'm not like a glitter sparkle freak, but you know, I don't know. Maybe because it's the holidays, and I certainly love, you know, my home is filled with everything holiday and lights and twinkles and sparkles and, you know, garland everywhere. So maybe I'm just in the mood for that. But I think more so than that, it's just kind of impressive that it's not just a sticker. It's actually like almost as if there's like glitter embedded in like epoxy or something, like really, really thick there. Very similar to the coasters that they recently sold in store that Karen sent my way, I think, had in a haul video. So, but the weird thing is, like, I would think that this is much more time-consuming and expensive to process than just your standard metal lid. So it's surprising that, like, this is the collection that they're keeping, you know, the standard rate, whereas, like, the Intrigue and Opulence, they tried going for $30, and so many of the collections now don't even have lids. You know, but this collection has, like, this fancy lid, and it's the same price. I'm not complaining, but it's just kind of like, I don't want anyone to say, like, well, you know, the reason they don't have lids is because they'll go up in price otherwise, when clearly these are pricier lids and it's the same price. So kind of a moot argument there. But to not keep this video from being too long, which fair warning probably will be, I just want to quickly run through the other candles in the collection and just talk about the repackages in the notes, because I think the thing that interests me, again, as always, is how they market everything. So first one is, it's called Wind Down, and it's I Wish to Wind Down. Pomegranate sangria calms the day's stress with oaky white wine, apples, and juicy pomegranate seeds. And that is essentially just sun-drenched vineyard from the Provence collection from earlier this spring, which was really just a watered-down cranberry woods for me, so total pass. Then I Wish to Sparkle Every Day. Confetti Cupcake treats you to fresh baked cake, sweet buttercream, and shimmering sprinkles. Total repackage of Frosted Cupcake from, you know, 2010 and on. I Wish to Dance Till Dawn. Tropical Tango dances you through smooth coconut, vibrant mango, and bubbly champagne. That is the Mango Coconut Cooler from the Summer Sips collection. You've got I Wish to Dream Big. Lavender clouds inspire you to dream big with soft lavender flowers, luxurious white musk, and a touch of coriander, which is just the fresh French lavender from the Provence collection as well. Which that one, there are some of these where like they could do so much better if they're going to do repackages. They could have pulled from the vault and done some really interesting things instead of just being lazy, which I think this was laziness in many ways. Granted, Cupcake might be hard to do, a different version of Cupcake, but I mean, who hasn't sniffed and owned Frosted Cupcake and had it smell nasty after 3 burns already? The Tropical Tango, whatever. The Lavender Clouds, though, that really should have been lavender. First of all, Lavender Clouds, you think Lavender Marshmallow, which was a failed test scent from the Spring Street Sweet Shop collection, early 2014. People were dying for it. It would have been fantastic. It makes sense, but it's just a plain, straight-up French lavender. Boring. Then you've got Holiday Wish, which was part of the VIP Black Friday tote exclusive, and that one, funnily enough, did not have the glitter lids here, and it was totally just a repackage of 'Tis the Season. Super lame. There's nothing worse than having 2-3 candle names out at the same time that are the exact same fragrance. Just silly. Then there was one, I guess it was maybe a failed test scent, called Go With The Flow Bergamot Waters. I wish to make this wish come true effortlessly with turquoise waters, easy mix of fresh water notes, sunlight, and a hint of sea spray. Again, probably a repackage of turquoise waters or sea spray from back in the day. So that leaves us to the 3 that you see here that I purchased. We've got Light Up the Room, Sparkling Apple Champagne, Live in the Sunshine, Fresh Blossoms, and Be Daring, Spiced Saffron and Redwood. So let's first, I'll pull this down here. Again, we've already kind of talked about the label and the glittery lid. And this one says, I wish to light up the room. Sparkling apple champagne's delightful blend of crisp green apple, shimmering amber, and bergamot causes smiles that are brighter than candlelight. Now, this is where it gets weird. Okay, so if it's sparkling apple champagne, which you can do a sparkling cider with champagne, whatever, why would it have amber and bergamot? I mean, okay, bergamot is a, bitter citrus, okay, but there's no food or drink item that has amber in it. So that just doesn't make sense. They're already like calling themselves out for it not actually being apple champagne. They don't mention effervescence. They don't mention champagne or bubbles or whatever, but sniffing it. This is a repackage of the wasabi apple from the artisan, market collection from this past, late summer, early fall. And I didn't actually purchase it at the time. I just got it in a tiny little, one of the little mini mason jars, and it was kind of like hit miss, who really cares? I liked it, it was okay, I considered buying it. This time around I was like, okay, it's part of this collection, it's gonna be super cheap, I liked it enough, I'll grab it. But the thing that's silly about this is wasabi apple was they said, kick up the heat with this sweet, crisp apples and a surprising sizzle of Japanese wasabi. So, I'm sorry, you're really stretching it now if all of a sudden we're to think that wasabi apple has champagne and bergamot and amber. It's like they're just getting these blends. Maybe they're not even blending them themselves. Maybe they're just purchasing sort of third-party blends, and they're just saying, what could we claim this to be? What can we get away with? It's just kind of a really almost borderline insulting stretch at this point for anyone who, really cares about fragrance and is interested in it. They're kind of where Bath & Body Works could go to the next level with their blends and their concepts and the quality of notes and the execution of fragrances. They're not. They're kind of playing to the lowest common denominator and just saying, okay, this will stick, good enough. Throw some green dye in it. Let's call it this apple champagne. When you really smell it, there's sort of a sweet, almost more like an apple blossom, very dewy, almost borderline back a candle that I love, drenched apple flower that was only out 1 year in spring 2012. So it's super sweet, but it's not appley in the crisp, fresh fall apple way, which is good. You don't really get any champagne. There's something very sweet, almost like the sweet bubblegumness from Pineapple Orchid, that almost makes me feel like there's almost kind of a super, super sweet, wet, tropical floral in here. Not musky, not anything like that, but I certainly don't get any amber or bergamot. I don't get any citrus. So there's a little bit of a bubblegumish kind of thing. So it works. I do like it enough, but just say what it is. Whatever the blend truly is, say that and then market something that makes more sense. So that's that. That's my little rant there. Then we move down a bit here to, boom. Okay, Live in the Sunshine, Fresh Blossoms. And the notes on this one are, I wish to live in the sunshine. Fresh blossoms, sun-kissed flower petals, green willow leaves, and a splash of citrus will make this wish come true. So they're just telling us flowers, leaves, and citrus. So not telling us what citrus, what flower, and I don't know what a willow leaf smells like. And sort of an peachish, not even pink, like an orangish peach wax. I smelled it and I knew the scent immediately, and I was like, what is it, what is it, what is it, what is it? Trying to figure it out. And the more I sniffed, I realized it's First Bloom. Now, First Bloom, it's one of my favorite florals, so which is why I purchased it. I figured, well, it might not come back in the spring. Let's grab this. It's cheap enough. I don't care what it's called. I like the fragrance itself enough that it's fine. And the notes on that, though, are, at least the first year it came out, were like the first tender blooms in a garden, a delicate blend of dewy pear, peony petals, and water lotus with sweet apple blossom. So at least with that, we got 4 things of what it actually was. And it's a really great, it's one of the first spring transitionals that I light in sometimes late February, certainly by early March. I'm getting into spring, and it really is dewy. It's very sweet without being heavy or cloying. There's a fresh air quality to it. And there's a hint of a green. It is, again, it's very sweet, but it's one of the least, there's no powder. It's not floral in the traditional sense of how you expect many florals to come across. Not even as intense as like a lilac blossom or anything overwhelming like that. Now, the thing is, I mean, First Bloom doesn't really match the notes there. It's not really the sunshine. They've had sunflower and green daisy and all these other things that maybe would have made more sense. I think there was even some sort of, there was sun-kissed blossoms years ago, so I figured that's what it would be. What I would have loved in this case is Flower Shop. They could have still called it Fresh Blossoms, but again, I've ranted and railed on and on about Flower Shop being the best floral they have ever had, and apparently will ever have, never have again. It was out, I think, just 2 years in 2010 and 2011, or maybe 2011, 2012. And it was just, you smelled like you were walking into a floral shop. It was, you could smell the center of green daisies, you could smell some mums, you could smell fresh cut greens, like truly, truly authentic, beautiful, perfect. And people loved it, and it's like they lost the formula or something, because it's never come back, and this would have been perfect for that. But maybe they're doing a huge relaunch and they'll bring it back in the spring, right? We can hope and doubt. And then finally we move on to the one I like the most, and the one that I was worried would make this video super long because it's really complex and it's kind of hard to figure out what it is. And it's the one that actually is like, which one of these in the collection is least like the other? Certainly this one. So this one's called Be Daring. It's got a really, really dark gray, light black wax, and they're saying that it's spiced saffron and redwood. Now saffron, again, it's a traditional, it's used like a spice, but it's actually, the stamen, I believe is what it's called, of sort of the center of a flower that they have to sort of hand harvest, dry. It's very intense. They use it for, for coloring dishes and rice and things, but also to give it a very specific, intense flavor and scent to things. And like, it's very expensive, and just a few of the little, sort of stems are enough to sort of flavor an entire dish. So saffron's super interesting. So they've never had anything with saffron. They've had, I think, redwood. They've certainly had red oak tree and red. They might have had redwood and something back when they had the forest collection in late 2012, which didn't go wide, which was a real shame. But before I compare everything, let's first read the notes and talk about what it could have been. So they say, I wish to be daring, dare to be inspired by spiced saffron and redwood's blend of ruby red cranberries, rare saffron, and California redwood. So, I mean, I feel like they threw the ruby red cranberries in here because they're worried that people would be scared of saffron not knowing what it is, and redwood thinking it would be, just, another oaky kind of tree or something. This is, the more I smell it, it's really, really nice. Now, basic noses on first sniff will say, oh, it's cologne, I don't like it. Fair enough. Maybe you don't like conceptual sense, and it could be a cologne. I'm actually going to compare it to a cologne that I have, but it really is so much more than just, the thing, again, not to go on another rant, but the thing that bothers me when people say cologne is, like, you clearly have never smelled many, many colognes because you think cologne is like some generic, like, Tommy Hilfiger cologne that you buy at Kohl's or Axe body spray from Walmart, and cologne is not at all that. So it's just, that's a lack of information. But clearly this is something that is more masculine. But I mean, that would be like every, look, plenty of girls spray, confetti cupcake body spray from Bath and Body Works on, and you don't smell a cupcake candle and say, oh, it smells perfumey. So, I mean, I guess some of the florals smell perfumey, but my point being, people burn as candles things that are or are not, body fragrances, and vice versa. This one, I don't think it's a repackage, which is weird. It's like I'm questioning myself. One of the associates in the store actually was like, oh, this is flannel, I love it, I'm going to buy a ton of them. And it's funny, people who love flannel seem to really, really love flannel. And for me, flannel, which I guess let's just start the comparison because I've got like 3 or 4 candles here I want to run through to compare. Flannel, I think it came back this year for a brief moment. Last year they just said it's bergamot, mahogany, and musk. It's also similar to like Bergamot Woods Villa Bergamot, but a little different. And this, for me, flannel was actually almost a repackage of Black Forest Woods, which came out in that 2012 failed forest collection that I mentioned, which, if you're interested in that, check out what is probably my longest video. It's like 50 minutes. Most people couldn't get through it, but it was very in-depth because I wanted to really kind of educate myself and others on what the notes were, because they were really unique, rare, notes for a candle, certainly from Bath and Body Works. And this reminds me a lot. Well, no, I'm smelling flannel now. Those were essentially a dupe. And I like flannel. It's a little cloying though for me. And Be Daring, it's a little bit less. It's not flannel. Flannel has sort of that almost like a drippy, cloying, like sappy quality to it that I don't hate, but I don't love. Be Daring is a little bit more in the family of, again, Bronze Blogger thought it may be Autumn Night, which I love Autumn Night, but I'm happy to say this is not a repackage of that. It's sort of in that Autumn Night, Applewood Bonfire, Ski Lodge family, but it's not any of them. But it's sort of the same thing where it's like, it's not so intensely woody or woodsy. It's got a lightness and a little hint of something kind of sweet or softer to balance it out to make it less of an intense, like bam masculine, gonna blow down the house with its intensity kind of fragrance. But the one thing I always compare when they do these kind of fragrances, and stick with me here, when they do these, again, for lack of a better word, cologne ones, I always compare them to, there was a collection in early 2013, White Barn, which I actually still have all 4 of them here in different states of burning, that I will very quickly run through. There's a video on them as well. They did this sort of one-off collection in late March, early April that year: Sandalwood Citrus, Oak Moss and Vetiver, Whitewater Birch, and Sage and Cedar. And it never went wide, and it was sort of, I think, it was just a test to see what was most popular, and then they remarketed them. So Sandalwood Citrus has come out a few times, actually as Sandalwood Citrus, but with prettier packaging. And then, of course, everyone knows, whether you realize or not, Sage and Cedar came out as a test called Sage and Cedar in a different packaging, and then it came out last year and this year as Black Tie. So that's where they get you with marketing is, a lot of people would see this candle, Sage and Cedar, and they'd be like, oh, that's too weird, that's too homey, that's too, outdoorsy or masculine for me. And they read the notes saying exotic and rich blend of sage, cedar, and rare tonka bean, and they won't know what tonka bean is, and they'll say, oh no, I don't like that, I don't want it. But all of a sudden it's Black Tie, and it's a New Year's date, and it smells, like a sexy man. But we all fall prey to marketing, so I'm not trying to hate on anybody with that. But so that came out that way. I've never really seen anything from Whitewater Birch or Oak Moss and Vetiver. So I was like, could this be one of those finally, seeing light of day? Not really, or definitely not entirely at least. The closest it's to, like the Oak Moss and Vetiver I like, but really smells like men's shaving cream. Like, I don't know what brand, but some brand that's like one of the really basic brands that's like still the original like white foam shaving cream. But it's kind of close to this Whitewater Birch, which was a fresh, clean blend of marine notes, woods, and a bit of citrus. That might be a little bit more intense with kind of the marine notes, whereas Be Daring, there's something kind of sophisticated about this. It's no black pepper bergamot, but it's really nice. Now, I'd say it's almost like a mix of the Whitewater Birch, which again, I know most folks haven't smelled, and the flannel. So if you like flannel, if you like Villa Bergamot, it's quite like, and if you liked Autumn Night, certainly, I think you'll like this Spice, Saffron, and Redwood Be Daring. I'm almost tempted to buy more of them. And if anyone thinks that it's a full repackage of something, please let me know, because I'm kind of curious now, because I'd be surprised if 7 candles were repackaged and 1 was new. But if I'm just trying to compare this to nothing else and just sniff it on its own and describe it to you, there is the wood in there. I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to compare it to, I've got a cologne actually, that had one of the main notes in it is saffron, so I kind of wanted to compare it. And again, I know this is a long video, so it'll be brief. So it is Atelier Cologne. So this is just the travel size. And it's a little leather sleeve there, and that is that. And this is Santal Carmine. And I'm considering doing reviews on Atelier Cologne. I have their full collection in samples and then some full sizes of a few of them. But I'm not sure if folks will be interested in it. It's like a kind of a niche brand, a little higher end, so it's not available for purchase in many places. Although I think they may be into Sephora now for some of their fragrances. Anyhow, the notes in this are, let's see, I have them listed here, bergamot, lime, or they say the met, so I'm not sure. Sandalwood, papyrus, cedarwood, vanilla, and saffron, also white musk. So the saffron, it's funny, smelling that next to Be Daring, I do get a bit of this sort of, I believe them. Now this Atelier cologne uses no synthetics. It's all truly, if they say that this is the note, it actually, like, organically, obviously very processed, but organically is that fragrance. It's not a chemical compound that's tricking the nose. And so the saffron in there, I know, is true, authentic. And there is a little something similar to it in this Be Daring. I'd love to see them going in this direction more, because it's a smart way for them to do these more masculine scents, I think. I really like it. Again, really, really hard to describe. You definitely get sort of a bit of bergamot, perhaps. The wood is not as sweet as a cedar wood, not as heavy as an oak. I guess it's similar to a cedar wood. And what else? There's certainly a musk in there, but it's not anything too intense. It's sort of like a little bit drier autumn night, maybe. None of the sweet spices that are in autumn night. There's a little bit more of an intensity or kind of a punch to this. So I really, really enjoy that. I hope it burns well. Anyhow, here we are, 26 minutes on a couple of candles. Gone a little too in-depth perhaps for some, but I wanted to talk about the collection. And so, not sure what's coming up next. Again, I don't really see the test scents, and they don't really do the test scents in the same form that they used to. There seem to be many, there don't seem to be many that actually are tests. They almost all go wide, except some that are just kind of true flops. So I'm not sure what the next collections will bring, but we should be seeing soon, because usually by mid-December we've seen at least maybe the first 2 or 3 collections for the late winter spring collections of Bath & Body Works White Barn. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Continue the convo over on facebook.com/TouchTheFireTwice. If you have any questions, opinions, thoughts, I know I went sort of onto some tangents and some rants here. I'd love to hear your opinions and also what you think of this collection. And until next time, take care.